So I recently sat on a creative strategy session run by Meta for one of the brands we work with, and they laid out really clearly how Meta actually scores your creative behind the scenes, which is something most brands never get to see. A lot of it lined up with how we already run accounts, but the way they framed it is the clearest I've come across. And once you understand it, a lot of creative decisions that feel like guesswork stop being guesswork. So that's what I want to walk you through. The first thing worth understanding is what happens before anyone even sees your ad. And that's the auction. When your ad goes into the auction, Meta isn't just looking at how much you're willing to pay. The total value of your ad comes down to your bid, multiplied by how likely they think someone is to take the action you want, plus how interesting they think the ad actually is to that person. And your creative quality can move those last two parts by up to around 50% based on Meta's own numbers. So this is the bit I want brands to really sit with, because it means good creative isn't just about looking nice. Take that first part, how likely someone is to take the action. If you're running a sales campaign, your creative actually has to encourage the purchase, not just earn a like or a comment. An ad that's really only built to get engagement is going to struggle to drive sales, and Meta works that out pretty quickly, so you end up bidding higher to win the same placement. Then the second part is how interesting the ad is to the specific person it's being shown to. Your ad can look absolutely beautiful, but if the person seeing it doesn't find it interesting or relevant to them, that score drops, and again, you pay more. So good creative is creative that's genuinely interesting to the right person and actually pushes them towards the sale. Get those two things right and you directly lower what you pay in the auction. Better creative, lower costs, same spend, more sales. That's the whole game. So the next question is what Meta actually rewards, and the answer is diversity. This is something we lean on heavily, and the session was a good reminder of why. Diversified creative does two things. It drives your costs down and it reaches more people. They shared a test where one brand ran two cells. The first was beautiful studio shots, really polished. The second had those exact same studio shots, but with lifestyle images added on top. So real people using the product in daily life. Same budget on both. And the cell with the lifestyle images added had a lower cost per acquisition and reached more people. The reason is simple. When you give the machine more varied creative, it goes, okay, I've got something different to show now. Let me serve it to a new group of people. When all of your ads look the same, the auction just keeps hitting the same audience over and over, and your costs climb. So similarity isn't neutral, it actively works against you. Now here's the part that's genuinely useful, which is how Meta decides whether your creative is diverse in the first place. It comes down to three things. The first is your visual layout. The second is your thumbnail. And the third is the first 3 seconds of your video. Now, I've talked about the first 3 seconds before on this channel, so you may already know it, but it's worth seeing exactly how the system treats it. They showed examples where two ads were completely different all the way through, but because the first 3 seconds looked the same, the system classified them as high similarity and served them to the same group of people. Completely different ads treated as one purely because of the opening. Same thing with visual layout. If your framing and your cropping are the same, like the subject is always in the same spot on the screen, it reads them as the same ad even when the content is different. So think about what that means in practice. You can go and shoot 60 brand new ads, spend a fortune on production, feel like you've completely refreshed the account, and Meta can still look at them and go, yeah, these are basically the same ad. And that's exactly what we were looking at on this account. A lot of the ads were women touching their hair, close-up shots, lots of pink, and the system had grouped a whole cluster of them as high similarity. Now there's nothing wrong with those ads. They were all performing, and pink is the brand's color, that's their identity. The point isn't to stop making them, it's that you have to add genuinely different looking creative on top. And the easiest lever is your hook. Make the first 3 seconds different. Different opening shot, different framing, different thumbnail. Even when the rest of the ad comes from the same shoot, a different first 3 seconds tells the system that this is a new ad. Go and find new people for it. Now the framework they use to find those gaps is one we use all the time, and you can do this yourself this afternoon. You map your top spending ads into a few simple quadrants. The first is functional versus emotional. Functional is your results, your before and afters, your ingredients. Emotional is the story, the feeling, the deeper why. The second is polished versus lo-fi. And the third is product versus lifestyle. Product is the ad that's all about the thing you're selling. Lifestyle is the person actually living with it. And when you map your ads out like this, what almost always happens is they cluster hard in one or two corners. This brand was leaning heavily functional, heavily product, with polished stuff all in the statics and video all lo-fi. So the empty quadrants basically write your next brief for you. For them, that was emotional storytelling. It was lifestyle and routine content like a get ready with me or a wind down routine, showing the confidence the product gives them rather than just the result. And it was polished hero video instead of only polished stills. This way you don't have to guess what to shoot next. The gaps tell you. And if you want to do this quickly, take your top 20 ads by spend, drop them into an AI tool, and ask it to map them onto those 3 quadrants. It'll show you exactly where you're thin. A couple of quick technical things worth locking in. First is format. They mentioned to stop splitting your statics and videos into separate ad sets. Every ad set should have a mix of both, because mixed format ad sets consistently get you a lower CPA than single format ones. On this account, even though most of their output was statics, the machine was choosing to spend more on videos because that was working. So you feed it both and let it decide. The second thing is what Meta calls creative essentials, and it's just 3 boxes. Your video should be 9:16. It should have audio, and your key elements should sit inside the safe zones, so nothing important gets cut off behind the buttons. A lot of brands still don't have all 3 ticked, and it's basically free performance. Now the part I really want you to take from this is where good creative actually starts, because it's not the visual, it's the customer. In the session, they walk through starting from a motivator or a barrier. So what's actually driving this person to buy, or what's holding them back? You start there, then build the benefit message off of it. Then the theme, and only then the visual. And a nice way to do this as a team is to get everyone in a room, have each person write motivators and barriers from the customer's point of view, group the similar ones, and build a piece of messaging for each cluster. Now this exercise is really the front end of something we go much deeper on, what we call persona mapping. We take the same idea, but we drive it with real research. Every review the brand has ever collected, Reddit threads where people describe the problem in their own words, competitor ads, all of it, and we turn it into personas written in the customer's actual language. I made a whole video recently on exactly how we do that, so I'll link it because that's where this motivator exercise really comes alive. A sticky note session gets you started, but research-backed personas tell you exactly who's being ignored and what to say to them. I'll also mention quickly, partnership ads came up as a big opportunity in that session. The ones that run from a creator's handle and the brand's handle at the same time. They're seeing meaningfully lower costs on those, but that's a whole topic on its own. And I've also made a separate video breaking down exactly how it works and why. So I'll point you there rather than rush it here. So that's what came out of sitting on the Meta side of the table. None of it changes the fundamentals, it just sharpens them. Your creative is being scored in the auction, so better creative literally lowers your cost. Similarity quietly raises them. The system judges diversity off your layout, your thumbnail, and your first 3 seconds. And the fastest way to know what to make next is to map what you've already got and start from the customer, not the camera. So if you take one thing away today, go and map your top 20 ads onto those 3 quadrants and have a proper look at where the gaps are. Now, diversifying your creative is a big lever, but it's only one piece of scaling a brand profitably. You've still got to nail the testing system that proves which of those ads actually deserves more budget, your offer and your landing page, and the attribution to know what's genuinely working. So if you're doing over 100K per month and you want to make sure you're not leaving money on the table, click the link in the description, enter your details, and I'll be in touch to run a free audit of your account, no strings attached. But even more importantly, go and watch my full breakdown on how to use your real attribution data to see which ads are actually working. Because once you've got diverse creative running, that's how you tell what's pulling its weight and what isn't. It's really practical, and I'm sure you'll find some gems for your brand. See you in the next one.